Well, g'day guys. Welcome to the podcast. This is Life in the Peloton. I'm Mitch Stocker, your host, and we are partnered with MAAP. MAAP is a company born out of Melbourne that has been propelling cycling forward since 2014. They're founders from different disciplines and industries: graphic design, fashion, and technical apparel design. And it's not only their cycling apparel that is rad. I'm absolutely loving getting around their casual range too. Not only the designs, the cut, the fit, they've absolutely nailed it. Well, as you can probably hear from my voice, I'm deep into the third week here at the Tour de France. And earlier this year, I was able to catch up with a good mate of mine, Simon Geschke, after he announced this year would be his last year on the pro circuit after 16 years. We started racing together way back in 2009 in Holland with Skil-Shimano. He's a good mate, someone who I shared those early years with as a pro. We went through those tough times both on and off the bike that young pros often face. Now he's racing his 12th Tour de France, just after finishing the Giro in May. And you may remember he was that guy fighting for the KOM jersey in the Giro. But we also remember back to 2022 in the Tour de France when he tragically lost the KOM jersey on that last day, that big fight the whole tour. He's one of the hardest workers in the Peloton, and I got to witness this firsthand early in those years when we were living together, and that's why he's had such a long career, which includes twice going to the Olympic Games to represent Germany, but also that really emotional, beautiful victory on stage 17 of the 2015 Tour de France, and that's only to name a few. I really want to release this episode, this conversation between Simon and I as he rides his last Tour de France, to help you guys understand some of the iconic riders in this year's Tour Peloton whilst you're sitting back and watching. You also may recognise him because he's that guy with that luscious beard riding on the front of the Peloton with that signature flying red Cavendish jersey. Now, I can tell you, I'm really starting to feel the pinch, as you heard at the start, from this year's Tour de France. Look, I know I'm not riding it, but I'm feeling it on the other side. It's harder than it looks to follow the race behind the scenes. If you're new to Life in the Peloton, I have been using both on and off the bike Pillar's triple magnesium. Like I said, I'm here at the tour, deep in the third week, and I get out each day feeling fully drained physically and emotionally, just from following the race. I've been running each morning and I've been having a little beer each night, so I've needed something to top me up on the other side, to bring me back to zero. I've been having the triple magnesium 30 minutes before bed each night. I lay down and like clockwork, 5 minutes, I'm out snoozing all the way through to the morning. It helps my muscles recover and gives me that full night in deep sleep. I know for a fact teams here at the Tour de France are tapping into Pillar's triple magnesium to help optimize their recovery, muscle repair, and of course, aid their sleep. That ever important thing. And if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. These guys don't muck around when it comes to products like this. They want the stuff that works and has been tested. I know I don't need to be at peak performance each day to race the tour, but I still want to feel my best each day when I'm out there trying to follow the race. Like I mentioned, after having the triple magnesium before bed, I wake up feeling that much more rested and ready to go again for the day. Give it a try, guys. Seriously, this is one you are not going to regret. Head across to pillarperformance.shop and use the code LITP for 15% off your first order. Or for our USA listeners, head across to thefeed.com/pillar. That's pillarperformance.shop. Well, guys, enjoy this one. Simon's story, a fantastic rider, an even better guy. I give you Simon Geschke.
Well, this is a bit special. Simon Geschke, he's invited me up to his hotel room. We're sharing a cold beer during the race here at Tour Down Under. Don't tell anyone that we're doing this, mate.
Yeah, it's there's no video proof in a podcast, isn't there?
There's not. And by the time this comes out, it'll be well and truly forgotten about. Brilliant. It's so fun to be up here. Simon, welcome to the podcast. We've had a really, I think, it's a long relationship, but it's been a really good, strong relationship. And we started together way back at Skil-Shimano. So, maybe exactly. From my side anyway, but maybe not from yours. You're thinking, geez, this guy, he's been pretty annoying ever since 2009.
Actually, first time I saw you was 2008 when we did the Tour de l'Avenir together.
We did
and
too.
I remember thinking, who's that guy with a huge mullet? And yeah, next thing I know, we were almost living together in North Holland. and then 1 year later, actually living together in Belgium. So yeah, that was good old times. And yeah, it's a really long time ago now.
It's funny because I don't know why this has happened like this, and obviously because you're a really good guy, but I have probably my three best friends from the Peloton, yourself, Robert Wagner and Bert de Backer, the three guys that I met in my first year pro, not Australians, but this connection we got in that first year, for me, it's always been the strongest. And you're the three guys that I really love coming back and talking to and you know, even asking advice and talking probably most honest to out of any of the pros. I don't know what happened. It was just this really good connection for me anyway for that first year.
Yeah, for sure. I think everything is so much stronger when you're young and you get into a completely different environment. For you, it was even crazier actually leaving I was always close to home. For me, it was easy to get in my car and drive home. For you, you came from Australia and there was, a whole different story. But yeah, I think the bonds between teammates for me also were much stronger at the beginning of my career. And at some point, you meet so many people and teammates, they always change every year in cycling, more or less. And you just get used to it. But for me, it was also like that. The first years were actually the ones that, that shaped me or my character as a rider the most.
Well, let's talk about your career. 16th year as a pro. It's getting pretty rare. You know, I was able to manage to squeeze out 13. You said, I can do better than that. There's not that many guys that are going that long now. The Peloton has changed. What I want to go back to is right back to the beginning, the old story, and I know you probably told it a million times, but I've never heard it from you. I'd love to know, how did you even get into cycling? You're from Berlin.
Yeah.
Tell us the story.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Berlin, actually a bit outside of Berlin. So I got into cycling mostly because of my dad. He was a track cyclist in the late 60s and 70s. He retired with as the reigning world champion in the sprint on the track.
Was he?
Yes, he was. Yeah. 2 times
World
on
champ.
the tandem. 2 times and 1 time, solo.
Unbelievable. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he was a track cyclist, but he was retired when I was born. And so he was doing more mountain bike.
Wow.
Yeah, you got more into endurance riding. Obviously, he was not training on the track anymore. He took me mountain biking a couple of times just for fun. And it was good fun, mountain biking for sure. I still like to do it. And then I did a few regional races in mountain bike and I won them almost all, I think. And that's when he saw, okay, he has good talent. And I was always a big fan, obviously, of the Tour de France. I was 12 when Jan Ullrich won the Tour de France. In Germany, that was a really big thing. So I was absolutely hooked by watching the Tour de France.
Like, was there sort of like memorabilia around or stuff around like the house? Like when you were growing up, I know your dad was riding a bit of mountain biking, but you were always sort of watching the Tour and he was always talking about cycling, you're watching the track. Was that part of your life?
He was riding a lot, actually. I remember that my mother was annoyed sometimes by how much he rides. Also on the road bike, but mainly mountain biking, actually. From the moment that I saw Jan Ullrich winning the Tour de France, I just wanted to do the same, you know. And that was when a dream was born. And then because I was doing good on the mountain bike, I thought, for sure I can do good on the road as well.
You weren't ever interested to go down the mountain bike line. You always wanted to go to the Tour.
Yeah, mainly, And mountain biking for me was never a real perspective because it wasn't, at the time, it wasn't that big. Just road cycling was for me always more interesting, you know, to be on TV and to do a race like the Tour de France, something like this. It just doesn't exist in mountain biking. Of course, they also have big races. I also watched the Cape Epic, definitely also great, but they don't have nothing comparable like the Tour de France in mountain biking. And then when I wanted to go on the road.
What was it like around sort of, Germany or Berlin around that time when you were growing up? What was cycling? Ulrich just won. So was everyone out on the bikes? And like when you said you wanted to do road cycling. What was that like at school? Were your friends like, cool, man? Or because like in Australia, if you want to do road cycling, especially for me, it was a bit of a really foreign sport. And I almost sort of kept it as a bit of a secret. I didn't want to tell my friends I was doing that weird sport.
I was
shaved your
actually
legs.
just the same.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So
Because
it's the same in Germany.
cycling was also, there was a big boom, especially when Ulrich won the Tour, but it was still kind of a sport. I mean, the number one sport in Germany is soccer, and that's the cool sport. And cycling was, looked at like a bit of a, uncool sport because, you have the clothes and you have to wear a helmet and all that. And I was proud of it, but like you, I didn't tell my friends, or I didn't. Yeah, it was definitely different because I was going to a normal school, not a sports school, and I also knew that my friends, they wouldn't understand it actually, how someone can do it, and then next to like the normal school stuff, there was not that much time actually, and in my youth, I also I missed a lot. I mean, everyone was partying at the weekends and I was going to some races or I had to train. So that time was definitely a very, you had to be very disciplined to make the dream come true, to become a pro.
Well, you weren't, and it's true. There is discipline, and you do make sacrifices. But I remember, for me, it wasn't a sacrifice, and the discipline was sort of easy because you wanted to do it so much, didn't you?
It was just so normal. Looking back now, I was doing crazier stuff than I do now, And I came back from school. It was already 4:00, and in the winter in East Germany, it gets dark at I think 3. And it was terrible. And I was going out on the bike with my lights on, and it was completely dark. I wouldn't do that now, And now I get paid for it. Back then, it was just not really doing it for fun, but for me, it was really no problem. Sometimes I don't know how I did it actually mentally to do all this stuff, to train every day, and and after training you had to do your homework, and it was really not easy. It was good that it was only, I think it was 2 years. I mean, as a kid everything is important, but and then also my first year under 23 I was but that was my last year in school, so from then on it got a little bit easier. But these times were not the most amazing in my life.
Well, let's fast forward a little bit, because you end up sort of a bit of a dream, really. The German team, Milram, you get a stagiaire, and for anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's a chance to ride on the pro team as a bit of an invitation or a test. Most often they go to nothing, but sometimes it can be a real chance to get in, and you get kitted up and all the kit, and it's a dream come true. Tell me about that.
That was of course a big thing. I mean, it's always a possibility to show yourself, not just to the team that you have the stagiaire contract with, but also to other teams, because when you're under 23, it's all about making your name known to get a contract or to have a chance to get a contract. And that year was in Germany. It was a bit complicated. Gerolsteiner was another German World Tour team that closed, and in Milram. It was a big thing for me to race in the full Milram kit and in the World Tour team. But like you said, it didn't go anywhere. So
I didn't know that was going to go nowhere.
Yeah, actually, the DS that picked me up, he said it to me straight away. Yeah, welcome, but we don't have any place for you left.
Wow.
So, and that was before my first race with them. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, what a way to motivate someone. And I did the race and I did good. But in the end, I got a good contract, or I got a contract with Skil-Shimano. Let's not call it a good contract. I was on minimum salary, like probably everyone in this team, for sure the Neos. And then funny thing is also my first year with Skil, I did the Tour de France with guys like Lance Armstrong, and I was on minimum salary pro Conti.
Hey guys, just quickly wanted to mention this episode is being brought to you by Zwift. It's 35 years since the Tour ended with an individual time trial, and a lot of things have changed in cycling since then. Not least the indoor cycling revolution. Zwift came along and changed the game back in 2014 when their software launched, and now they've done it again in 2024 with their new Zwift Ride smart bike. Zwift Ride is ready to ride, and you can leave it set up ready to go. It's totally adjustable for a variety of riders, and it's packed full of features like virtual shifting, integrated play controllers, smart resistant, gradient simulation, and it's near silent at a very affordable price. Zwift Ride is being launched all over the world while the Tour de France is on, and last week they were there in Melbourne. But if you're in Europe and around Nice or Rotterdam at the end of July or the start of August, they've partnered up with Brewdog Brewers to host these events. So get down there and see the new Zwift Ride for yourself. You'll need to get a free ticket from their Eventbrite page. Link's going to be in the show notes. There is nothing worse than having to get your road bike and connect it to your smart trainer every time you want to do a session. With Zwift Ride, you can just leave it there connected, set up, ready to go, and you can be up and training within minutes. Available in the US, the UK, and Europe via Zwift.com and WahooFitness.com. Right, let's get back to this episode.
I do want to talk about that, and I'm glad you brought it straight up because you did sign with Skil-Shimano, and that's where we met in 2009 over there in Deurningen in our little house. Well, no, it wasn't little, it was huge. In the mansion, the Deurningen mansion, where I lived, and you came and stayed on your way from Berlin to every race before we drove to every race. It was a fun time. Look, and I know the minimum wage was there, and look, to be honest, I didn't really care at that point, and I'm sure you didn't because we were in. We made it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. We were pro. That's all that mattered.
Was the chance, and I remember for the team, it was so big because Ivan Spekenbrink, the owner, he was doing a good job there to do the best with that team, to get them in the best races. And he really got the most out of the team when we were there. You know, we did Paris-Nice, we did these races, I got invitations. And the tour was a question, are we going to do it, are we not? The team did the tour, and then we got a bus. Remember the bus?
Yeah.
The arrival of the bus, you know, it was so exciting. I was losing it.
Yeah.
I wasn't even going to the tour. I was like, when am I going to get on the bus? So the dream for you comes true. You get to go to the tour in your first year pro. Do you remember that when you got selected?
Yeah, definitely. I was, first I couldn't believe it. And I was also, Ivan called me actually personally and told me, you're with there are 6 guys that are already sure and you're one of them. And I was with the first 6 guys.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He told me, I think before, it was not that early. I think it was before the Route du Sud, which is not Route Occitane. It was maximum 3 weeks before. But I was definitely, first I thought, okay, a lot of things can still happen, you know, you never know. And then I just every day I got a little bit more nervous, to be honest. That year was going well for me, but the thing was also, I didn't know what to expect because the only World Tour race I did before the tour was Flèche Wallonne, and that's the Ronde race. So I couldn't really compare it to anything. And stage racing wise, I only did smaller races before. And I didn't know what I got into. But I'm still proud that I could finish the tour that year. But I didn't belong there. I mean, I was I could finish in the gruppetto, but that was all. I mean, I tried to go on breakaways sometimes, but I also didn't have the experience to do that, you know. The days where the first attack went to be the breakaway, I was waiting, and then when it took 1 hour, I was the first guy to attack, and then I had to recover for 1 hour. So I did a lot of mistakes in my first year in the tour. But still reaching Paris was a big thing for me.
It was, I can imagine, and it really sort of got that. You already spoke about the love with the tour for you. Now you've ridden 11 editions, is that correct?
Yeah.
11 editions of the tour. And you've really, you know, you haven't missed many years that you haven't gone to the tour, but the tour for you, the Tour de France I'm talking about, has been a bit of a roller coaster, really. Like there's been some amazing highs and also some sort of bitter points as well. We've got to talk about 2015, Stage 17, Tour de France win. The dream really comes true. And I've only recently just watched the interview. And you just realise how much it really meant to you. Run us through that stage and how it starts to come about. And because it was a pretty epic ride, actually.
Yeah. I think that was the best ride I've done all my career. I mean, I was definitely in the form of my life. I can say that pretty much, pretty confident that I was in a really good shape, and I don't know why, it just happened. I did the Giro that year because I broke my collarbone in spring, so I did the Giro, because I broke my collarbone, it was more like a build-up race, and I did good there, but nothing special. And then I heard that I have the chance to go to the Tour, but it was still not very sure. But yeah, I did everything between or after the Giro to get into good shape. Yeah, the Tour, especially in the third week or end of second, beginning of third week, I almost got into every breakaway, which is not easy in the Tour. And then I felt just that a lot is possible. And before that, the stage I won was the first after the second rest day. And the day before the rest day, I was already in the breakaway with, I was fourth in the end, that stage. And I mean, when you're good in the Tour, you always dream of winning a stage because in the Grand Tour, the thing is there are so many chances for the breakaways, much more than you have in other stage races. In Paris-Nice, you have maybe one chance that the breakaway goes to the finish. And in the Grand Tour, you have, let's say, 7, 8. I don't know how many, but it's just a different...
more, yeah.
Yeah.
People are thinking about different things. Okay, there's mountain stages coming. There was sprint yesterday. They need breaks and that sort of thing. It just is different.
That just happens in the Grand Tour because, the GC, I mean, there are only, in the third week, there are only 3 guys that can still win the race and the rest is not so important anymore. And then guys like me can make it in the breakaway. And, that's when the magic happens. And it happened for me that day. And first, I didn't really think about going in the breakaway. So, everything just happened that day exactly how it had to happen. I don't know how to describe it. But, at some point, it was a big fight for the breakaway, actually. And I had pretty good legs. And the breakaway was already gone. And, the bunch was slowing down. We had John Degenkolb there, which was not, for a stage like that, was not the best option because it was a really, really tough final with with the highest mountain of the Tour, I think. So to win the stage, he was not the best
option.
Best option for our team. So I asked Warren Barguil if I should stay with him or should I jump. And then Warren is always very easygoing. He said, go. And so I went and I bridged the course as one of the last guys. And then the break was very big, and we had guys like Thibaut Pinot, Richie Porte, Steven Krauswijk, Rigoberto Urán. So some really good names, big names, and good climbers. And
So were you able to sort of go, cool, the big guys are here. I can just be just some other guy, Everyone's looking at these
flying
guys.
under the radar. That was good. Sagan was also there, and I knew there's one intermediate sprint with 50k to go. So there's always a sprint. Sagan was taking the points. I think Degenkolb was second or third. And then I knew after the sprint, mostly everyone has a sip from the bottle. And then I try to attack because there are too many good climbers to just wait for the last climb. And it's basically just waiting to get dropped and then getting 8. So I was thinking, okay, I was 4th 2 days ago. I'm going from a long way out now. And it was...
Did you have to psych yourself up, or you were just really confident in the plan?
I was confident. I had nothing to lose because I had a good result with my 4th place day before the rest day, and I thought, why not? Why not being the first to attack? Because, like I said, I was pretty confident that I had super legs or that I'm in a really good shape. I mean, the plan was obviously to take 2-3 more guys, but no one thought that move would have a chance. And then, I had tailwind actually through the whole valley to the last climb, and that was perfect. And then behind me, they were all watching each other, and suddenly I had 2.5 minutes, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And the bunch behind slowed down completely, so it was clear that the winner of the stage will be from that breakaway. And everything I predicted was actually happening. I predicted, after the intermediate sprint, it will slow down a bit. They will let a few guys go. I ended up alone, but it was no problem. I could do a really good pace. And then I just went, and then I could push like really high power the whole time to the climb, and on the climb also. I mean, then it was getting a bit tough, of course. But everything I predicted happened. And in the back, they were watching each other. They were watching Porte. Porte didn't want to pull for Pinot. Pinot didn't want to pull for Urán. And of course, I lost time then on the second last climb. I think Pinot was then just 50 seconds behind me, but I knew he's not a good descender, and I'm not a super good descender, but
You're not bad, no.
I can go down quite quick. and then he crashed behind me even. So yeah.
Were you getting these updates?
Yeah. All of them, yeah. So I knew, okay, 50 seconds is not a lot because the climb to the finish was not super hard, but it was still 6K. And I was out there already for more than 1 hour.
Yeah.
And I knew, okay, Pinot, 30 seconds on 6 kilometers, for sure he would catch me. So I needed more. And he crashed. So at the bottom of the downhill, I had again 1.5 minutes. So still not enough to celebrate too early. But
were you starting to believe?
Yeah, a little bit. And then I got cramps.
Do you cramp normally?
Now, not anymore. After the descent, the muscles were cold and I was super motivated to win the stage. So I went full gas into the last climb and I immediately cramped. So yeah, I took another gel and I push, let's say 150 watts for 1 minute. I was lucky, more or less, that Pinot crashed behind me in the descent. But then I had Andrew Tolensky just
mowing it down.
1.5 minutes behind me. And
what was the DS saying?
Not that much, actually.
Who was it?
It was Mark Reef.
Right.
Very good DS. He was motivating me, but he was not freaking out completely. After the race, he told me he didn't want me to push too hard because, if you get too excited, you push 500 watts and you just blow up and you're standing still. And that's what he didn't want me to do, obviously. So, he wanted, of course, to motivate me, but his goal was also to keep me calm. Because 6 kilometers uphill, it's still a long effort, especially when I was completely out of power. The head was pushing me more or less to the finish and nothing else. It was not the legs anymore. The legs, I was happy that the legs stopped cramping. Yeah, I remember I looked back a lot and Mark Reef, my DS, said, "Don't look back. You don't have to look back. There's no one coming. No one is coming." And then, that was pretty great to hear. No one is coming. And that was, I think, 2K before the finish. And then I started to believe, but, anything can happen. I didn't believe it till 500 meters to go, maybe, because I was still not sure if I start cramping again or, it just feels unreal. You're in a tunnel, just, I didn't even watch the power meter anymore. I just really tried to push as hard as I can because I knew, it's today or never again. In cycling, as a rider, my type of rider, you don't get that many chances. And that was the best chance I've ever got. And I would have been very disappointed to finish second that day. But I could pull it off.
I could feel that. I felt like I was going up that final 500 meters with you. Look, I haven't won many races in my career, only 2 races I was able to get, and you also, but much bigger races. And when you get that opportunity, it's so rare. And what was it like afterwards, that interview? I remember seeing it, but just that feeling that I've achieved it, I've done it. Can you remember that?
Definitely some of it was such a weird feeling because all this 1 hour behind after the stage, not that I can't remember it anymore, but I was really I don't want to say drunk or high, but all the endorphins and whatever. I don't remember everything from that interview. I remember that I cried and I remembered, of course, the podium ceremony and all that. But it took actually really long. I don't remember the doping control, for example. I was just completely over the moon.
What happened the next day? How'd you feel the next day? Did you feel good or did you feel wrecked because all the emotion came down and your legs were buggered?
I felt, I didn't sleep much that night. 3:30 in the morning, I was answering messages and it was just completely crazy. I was still so hyped that I couldn't sleep. Next morning, I didn't feel great. I think also that stage was also not so easy, but it was not a nightmare of a stage, so I could survive in one of the groups further behind. And I just survived. What was really nice was a lot of people saying congrats, like guys like Cavendish, Valverde, like really big guys on the bunch, tapping me on the back and really respectful congratulations, and that was really nice. I was also wearing the red start number, which is also In the Tour, I think it's now they have a different color, I think, which is a bit ugly. But back then it was a red number. And yeah, I was also proud, to show it. Yeah, I was the guy yesterday that did the solo 48K.
It's very cool. It doesn't surprise me what you say then, because that's who you are, and that's who you are been throughout your whole career. Even our experience together. You're a great guy, but you're also a really great teammate. I want to talk a little bit about your role throughout your teams. You were with Skil-Shimano, or whatever those names were, Skil-Shimano, 1T4I, Giant Albison, whatever you want to call it, for 10 years.
Sunweb,
of course.
Yeah, I was there for 10 years.
10 years. And you played a really pinnacle sort of teammate role. And tell me a little bit about that role and how, I guess, you enjoy that role, because you have to enjoy that role to do it for so long and do it so successfully.
Yeah, I mean, in my career, I was never the guy that was always the captain. I mean, when I was good, I could enjoy the support of the team sometimes, but most of the times I was also a helper. I never had a real or a very big breakthrough that you say, okay, this is the guy now we focus on now for the whole race. I also enjoyed that role very much of a helper, because also, I mean, you have less pressure, of course. Every stage, especially in stage races, is also different. So I was always trying to be as versatile as possible. I was even in the sprint preparation for Marcel Kittel a few years. Yeah, I always enjoyed it also to help others. And actually, I have also still great memories. Best memories, of course, is what we just talked about, the Tour de France stage victory. But I also have great memories from helping other guys actually to achieve stage wins. Or I did the Giro with Tom Dumoulin in 2017. That's a great memory. Same year we won the green and the polka dot jersey with Michael Matthews and Warren Barguil. So yeah, these are all great memories. And I also only won 3 races throughout my career. And of course, it's always the best feeling to win yourself. But crossing the line, knowing that you helped the teammate to win, or to win the GC of a Grand Tour, for example, like we did with Tom Dumoulin in 2017, that's almost as good. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about later on, and you moved to CCC, and now you're in Team Cofidis now. In 2022, you take the polka dot jersey and you actually hold it for 9 days. And I was there on the sidelines, as many people were, loving watching that fight. And this is what I talk about with the Tour, that sort of up and down road. And I'm sure there's a hell of a lot more stories than this. These couple that I want to pick out, that you're riding that and you're chasing that, and then only to be taken away from you by someone who wasn't really even going for it. Tell me a bit about this and sort of, I guess the highs of it, being out there in the polka dot, what that must feel like for someone every day fighting for it, because it's pretty hard to do that. So it's a very difficult jersey to obtain if you're not a GC rider. You've got to be in breaks every day. You've got to fight other climbers for it. Yeah. Then suddenly GC guys win the stage and take all the points,
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that journey.
That was next to the stage victory, actually one of the performance I'm most proud of. I was already 36, which is also a very ripe age. Yeah, 22 was a really good season for me, and in the Tour I happened to be really in a very good shape again. And the goal was just to take the jersey for a few days, because I knew, okay, I'm not a world-class climber. I can climb, but that's about it. You won't find me in the Tour when there's only 20 guys left. So it was clear that it would be for me to keep the jersey as long as possible. It would be a very, very difficult task. But yeah, every day I was collecting more points, and I could fight off guys like Ciccone and Paulus. And of course, I had the hope, and it looked like the big guys like Vingegaard and Pogacar, they had bigger goals to achieve. So I was hoping going into breakaways would get me that jersey. It was a wonderful time, and every day I started to believe a little bit more in it. And especially, in Germany, it was actually quite, in the cycling world, it was quite a big thing apparently now, that because a German never won that polka dot jersey. Wow. That would have been German cycling history, actually. And
I think you're the longest German rider to have.
yeah.
Right?
The old record was like 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
So it was pretty easy to beat.
Says you.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing easy in the tour, you know. But once I had it, of course, I wanted to defend it as long as possible. And suddenly we were getting very close to Paris, and I still had a margin of points that I was ahead. And and then on the last stage in the mountains, actually everything went wrong. It ended actually with a very, very big disappointment for me. And when I think about it now, I'm getting sometimes when I ride by myself and training, I still think about it, and I'm getting really, really upset. Like it still feels like a very big opportunity I blew up. Yeah.
Why? What happened?
I mean, that day I was super nervous. The whole team was super nervous. It's nothing that would have meant nothing to the team. It would have been a big thing for the team also to win the Polkadot. We had a big speech in the meeting. Everyone was super excited to do the best, and we actually did too much to trying to get me in the breakaway. And it was a long fight. Problem with the stage was it was like a 60k flat run to the first climb, and just crossing the top of the climb in second or third would have been enough. Yeah, it was a HC climb, I think. So of course the goal was to get me in the breakaway, but we were trying way too hard, you know, that we closed every gap possible, and they tried to do lead outs for me into the breakaway, and I just blew up so many times already on the flat that in the end we missed the right breakaway that was going just before the climb.
Were they trying to chase that back, or everyone was dead by then?
No, we tried to chase it back, but everyone was already dead. There was yelling in the radio, and first even Quickstep was riding with us, helped Fabio Jakobsen to stay in the time limit, because when the breakaway gets too big of an advantage, they get trouble in the back with the time cut. So first of all, they were riding with us, but they stopped pretty soon that they saw that we were riding full gas to close it. But it was just not meant to be. And looking back now, it was a big mistake. There was one breakaway of 2-3 riders that we could have easily controlled, and we closed that too early. And then a big group was going, and we were making the wrong decisions. But it's always, I mean, in the end, it's also always easy to say afterward. In the race, you are so focused and so excited and full of adrenaline. Yeah, and also me, I was pretty confident because every day I was in a breakaway and I was feeling good, and I was thinking, okay, just get me to that climb, and as long as it's under 1 minute, I can bridge to the breakaway. I was very confident actually, but that day I could feel also that I was running out of power, and I was in the second and third week I was in so many breakaways, and that cost a lot of energy. And I was also, one day I was more or less in a useless breakaway where I only got 3 points, but it was one of the hardest stages.
A whole day
of my memory. Yeah, a whole day out there, really hot, and we started attacking each other with 60k out, and that was a waste of energy, and I paid for that on the last mountain stage. And looking back now to that tour, I would have done things different. But on the other hand, I should also be thankful of being in the Polkadot for 9 days, because that's also something that doesn't happen to any rider.
It's funny because, I know it would have been a different story and everyone would have remembered it, but a lot of people remember this story, the heartbreak. So in a weird way, it's still got a really strong memory, that story of you fighting for that jersey and you not being able to get it. So I think it still has a strong legacy, that story.
Yeah, I think it has, and of course I'm also still proud of it, what I did, and then also finishing in second was not bad. And I was just really disappointed because when you are so close, and the guy that won it didn't even go for it. He was going for the GC, and so he was not sprinting for points like I did, or he didn't go in any breakaways. He was just the strongest. I mean, in the end, also the best climber of the tour won it, which is fair enough. But I mean, in the end, it's also a jersey. The guy with the most points wins. It's like with the green jersey. It's not always the best sprinter. That the guy that wins the most bunch sprints. It's the guy with the most points that wears it in Paris. And I really wanted to be that guy. So it was a big heartbreak, definitely.
Grand Tours are your thing. You've done 11 Tour de France's, 4 Vueltas, 3 Giros. What is it about Grand Tours that you really like?
I think I'm a very consistent rider. I tend to get better in second and third week. So that's definitely what I like. It's just long, and it's also good for me is, like I said before, you have a lot of chances to do good out of breakaways, and I love that. Going in the breakaway, you have that race in the race, It's nothing that would happen, for example, in a one-day race. There would never be a 20-rider breakaway that gets 20 minutes like in Grand Tours. You only have that in Grand Tours, and I really like that.
What about the psychological side? Obviously, you're good at handling that, the roommates, the bus rides, the long stages of transfers, then also the fatigue.
Yeah.
Psychologically, was there something that you worked out yourself, or it was just naturally something you were able to handle?
I think you have to have the mindset for it. I didn't love all the Grand Tours I did. The Vuelta felt 2 times like a punishment, actually. And that was also the 2 Vueltas I didn't finish. But doing a Grand Tour is always, it's the highlight of the season. You prepare very good for it, and for me, it's always, you have so many opportunities as a type of rider I am to go on breakaways and search for that lucky day where everything fits. This is just really what I like. I also like.
You rode, like we said before, 10 years with Skil-Shimano, let's just call it that. You moved across the CCC, and now you're at Cofidis for 4 years. Your last year, mate, you announced this year that you're going to retire. You're going to rack it. You've had enough. But I read that somewhere you want to finish with the Giro-Tour combination. Is that correct?
First the Giro, yes. This year, everything is open. Before the season, there are 3 races I want to do in my last season. That's Tour Down Under, Strade Bianche, and Giro. And it's not that I don't care about the rest. But if I don't do the tour, I'm not disappointed.
You've had the tour?
It's a very stressful race, and it's just the level is incredible. It's I don't know what it is about the tour, but the level is always a little bit higher than any other World Tour race. And this is, of course, something I also now understand, that at my age, when you're not at 100%, like, for example, I was last year, it's just a terrible, terrible place to be in, to be honest. And last year was the first time I didn't finish the tour. I got sick in the 3rd week. Definitely had enough. But as a cyclist, you're also a bit stupid. You forget very quick. So I do the Giro first, and then we sat with the team. We talk after the Giro. Half of the team is on the long list for the tour, so that doesn't mean anything normally. And if I feel good after the Giro, we can talk. And can also imagine that after the Giro, I say, or the team says, let's focus on the last part of the season. And that would be also not a nightmare. Last time I was home in July is 10 years ago already. It was 2014. It would be weird, definitely, to watch it on TV. I could live with it.
So why those 3 races? Why TDU?
I always loved coming here since the first time I did it in 2014, I think, was the first year I was here. And it's just a nice trip, and it's such a nice race because the organization is very easy. You stay in the same hotel. The stages are never really far away. Everything is a little bit more relaxed than the rest of the year. And it's also a place where I just like coming to because we race the whole year in Europe. You go every 2 weeks, you go to the same country. For me, it's a lot. A lot of races are in France now, Italy, Spain, And Australia is really nice for a change, and the weather's good. And I actually hate doing another training camp in January. All the World Tour teams usually go to the area of Kalpe, which is it's a nice area, and the weather is good for European winter. It's quite solid, but I hate going there. December is still nice, but then going there another time in January, and I'm doing that since more than 10 years now, so I know every road, and I definitely prefer coming here. And Strade Bianche is just my favorite one-day race because I like all the tradition that comes with it, and the Giro was just a race that I haven't done for a long time. It's a little bit less stressful than the Tour. Level is also crazy high, obviously, like almost every World Tour race. And, But yeah, I think that is a nice program, and the team decides the rest. I'm open to do the tour also again this year, but only if it makes sense. Last year I was struggling already in spring, so if I have a difficult season again, I would not like to go to the tour. Then it's not a present to go there.
What made you come to the decision? You know, I know 16 years, it might seem obvious to a lot of people, but, you know, it's what you do. You know, well, was there a light bulb moment where you went, you know what, this is it, I'm out?
Yeah, I mean, already the last couple of years, I was thinking what would be a good age to retire. And I always thought 35, 36, it's enough. But yeah, like you said, it's what I do. It's your comfort zone. You live in a bubble as a cyclist. And I wanted to retire first end of last year because I had a 2-year contract with Cofidis till the end of 23. I thought, okay, and then I retire. I'm 37 then, and then that's enough. Then I had a very good year in 22 with I was third in Tour of Romandie overall, and I had a really good tour with almost winning the polka dot jersey. Let's just not talk about it again. And then I knew I had the option to talk with the team about one more year. And yeah, after that tour, I thought, yeah, for sure I have another good year in me. And so yeah, we signed a contract for 24, but that's definitely it then. Yeah.
Not one more.
No, I don't think the sport is made anymore for riders that are 37, 38. I think the sport is much more, it really got different. You see all the young riders now, 20 years old. I mean, when we were Neos, we were 23, 22, 23, and it was normal back then. And you needed at least 2-3 years till you really could go play the big boys. Yeah. And before would have been arrogant to talk about, I'm going to World Tour race and I want to win. Now you have 20-year-old riders that win probably the Tour Down Under. We have a guy like that won yesterday. It feels like that every year there is a new guy coming that is super young and super talented. And for our generation, it's getting harder and harder to compete with that. And for me, it's time, and I'm looking forward also to the time after to do something different because I was never one that is obsessed with cycling. I also like different things in life. Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to retire.
What does it look like? You know, a year after, mate, coming to the other side with me. Welcome to the new world. But you can come hang out with me on the other side of the fence and take interviews.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I will stay involved in cycling. I just don't know exactly.
Do you want to be a DS?
No, that's the one thing I can exclude.
Mechanic?
Goalers. No, also not. Bus driver.
I wouldn't mind being a bus driver. Out of all the jobs, I think I like the bus driver because they're connected with the boys in the bus and they're the ones who set the vibe. They've got the music on.
That's the positive points, but they also have to clean the toilet. You know how it can look sometimes if everyone, all in their sprint suits, piss everywhere, just not in the toilet. But yeah, no, the goal is to be more at home. This is something, I want to have in life after cycling. Yeah, but I think it would be stupid to say I don't want to stay involved in cycling because this is what I did for the last 20 years and this is where I have all my experience and all the people I know are somehow connected to cycling. So yeah, why would I do something completely different? I don't see myself.
Well, you're down in Freiburg now still, is that correct?
Yeah,
you moved down there. It's a great community down there. I was down there only one time, but I really enjoyed my time down there. Tell me a little bit about the beard. Everyone's probably wondering. That's your signature. Looks good. The beard. Is it going to stay? Is it going to go?
No, I think it will stay. I mean, maybe not forever. I have one gray hair already here on my chin. So yeah, we'll see. But I never woke up and thought, oh, today I shave it off. I'm sick of it. So yeah. Sometimes I even have, not nightmares, but I dream about accidentally shaving off my beard. And when I wake up, I feel relieved that it's still there. So I think that's a strong sign that I like my beard. Well, I'm not just keeping it because it's my signature.
Yeah, you like it. Well, like when we first met, the beard didn't exist. When did the beard come? You always had a little goatee and stuff.
Yeah. I was playing around with my facial hair. But the beard came between 2013 and 14. 14 was my first season with a beard. I remember my mom saying on TV, it's really easy to spot me now. And yeah, I just liked it. It started a little bit out of laziness. Yeah, then I just kept it.
Lastly, mate, coming into your last season, and when I went into my last season, and once I announced myself, I sort of had a different view with the races. I went to different races. I was like, cool, it's the last time I'm going to be here. So I got less pissed off with stuff, even an eco tour. I was at, Bing Bank, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I was there in the crosswind fighting, and I'm like, I'm never going to be on a bike that is like so fast it could ever be, swapping turns with the best riders in the world in a crosswind. And I sort of weirdly liked it because I knew this will never happen again. I guess looking to your last season, are there some things that you're thinking about or had a thought about? I really would like to do this one last time, whether it's one last win or, to tick the box. I guess there's no regrets because when you make that decision, you're ready to retire. What's the last sort of things you're thinking about this year that you want to do or just enjoy?
I mean, I didn't set any goals for me this season. The goal is to stay on the bike. I'm done with crashing, I hope. I had a few bad ones in my career. But yeah, no goals. I will see, of course, if I can win a race, that would be great. But I think that's going to be very difficult. The main goal is to enjoy every moment, to have fun. And then that's just what I'm doing this week here in the Tour Down Under. But yeah, the whole season everything I do this season will be the last time, It will be the last time Tour Down Under. It will be, also some good things, like the last team meeting in October, and some things I'm happy to do the last time, and other things will be, of course, a bit emotional.
The last Adams fill out, that'll be nice.
Yeah, for sure. And also the last, when I come home, it's already February, the last proper winter training with, like in the shit weather in Germany in winter, it's not always fun to train, hoping that we'll get spring there very soon. So this winter, the thing that motivated me, I was actually really a bit more motivated because I knew it's the last time. It's the last winter. I really have to be on the bike every day, even if it's cold, if it's gray, if it's raining, whatever. You have to go out, and it's the last time. And next year, around that time, I can say, okay, it's shit weather. I stay at home or I do something else. Yeah.
Yeah, cool, mate. Well, enjoy.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. What an absolute legend Simon Geschke is. You can watch him finish his last Tour de France right now. And I hope you have been enjoying the Tour de France. A big thanks goes out to MAAP, our major partner, Red Bricks Media for putting the episodes together, the Life in the Peloton team behind the scenes, and of course, you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed watching Simon over his career. Like I said, we'll be back next week with another episode of Life in the Peloton, the race communique, wrapping up everything that happened at the Tour de France. And if you haven't heard already, get across and get yourself a Life in the Peloton book. This is something you need in your bookshelf that is exclusively being sold at maap.cc. I'm sure you've already heard about it, so I'm only just reminding you. I hope you guys like it. Until then, cheers.
That iconic music in this episode was composed by none other than the legend Pete Shelley. Cheers, mate.